Hey everybody, this is Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and today's video I'm going to talk about some of the books that I've pulled from my 100K collection that I'm considering sending to CGC. Now you may ask, what is the difference between these books that I'm considering as opposed to the books that I've been sending out previous videos? Well, in the previous videos, the majority of those books are books that I have been picking up when I go to comic book shows and comic book shops, and even a lot of online sources like eBay and Heritage and whatnot. And I've looked for good values in all of those, and I've submitted them based on that. Well, this collection, these are books that I'm talking about today, are books that came from the personal collection, and I bought these when they came out, and thus I paid cover price for them. And in some cases I paid less than cover price, as they were part of my monthly subscription that I would get discounts on. So in the end, what I'm really talking about here is return on investment. I have got very little relatively invested in these books, and the return, it could be fantastic if you can pull a 9.8, 9.6, something high grade like that. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. I'm going to go through these books, and I've broken it down. I've pulled more books than what I'm going to show today, but what I've got here is going to be 25 books that I would consider sending to CGC. And I went and did a little bit of research. Now, I haven't done quite as in-depth research as I normally would, but what I've done is gone to sources like Cover Price and it wasn't Key Collector, it was the other one. It was actually it was Cover Price and Go Collect. And I really just took a quick look at what, if you can get a 9.8 in these books, what is the most current sales of that book. And yes, normally I would go and do a little bit more in-depth research. I would check eBay, I would check what they're currently being listed for and what they've recently sold for. And trust me, that research will come. I will do that eventually, but this video right here is talking about considering these books, and that's the stage I'm at right now, and that's why I made this list of books, and then I went to the collection and I pulled these books out, and that's what we're talking about today. So let's go through the books, and then we'll talk a little bit about the value that could be obtained if you can get that high grade eventually from CGC. Alright, first two books, I got two copies of it, is Daredevil 232. I'm going to be a little bit out of order here, so don't mind that. But 232, if you can get a 9.8 on this right here, recent sale on this went for literally $175, and that's fantastic. And then I've got 230, and recent sale on that is $170. And as you recognize, this is the Dave Mazzarelli and Frank Miller run on Born Again. Now, I didn't pull all the issues out on this run. I pulled out the ones that were probably the most expensive if you could pull those high grades. And then I've got 229, and on that one you can, recent sale on that was $187 at a 9.8. Now, there again, like I said, there are values at 9.6s, and trust me, these books will have to be reviewed. I will go through, pull these out, I will look at them really close and determine if they really are going to be worthy of that high grade. I think I'm pretty sure every one of these is going to have to go through a set of cleaning and pressing, if not one, maybe two, but this right now is just the prep work to get these books into the queue. So right now we got those books, and then I switched over to SpiderMan, and this right here is on everybody's list these days. Every YouTuber I go out there and I watch videos all the time when they talk about some of the new hot books that are out there. They're specking on them because of what's happening in the MCU. And this one right here is Amazing Spider-Man 307. It is the Chameleon's origin, and it is also one of Todd McFarlane's books as well. And like I said, you'll find this in everybody's hot list right now. But I had a copy of that, and recent sale on that at a 9.8 went for $215. All right, continuing Spider-Man, I've got Spider-Man 233, and that one, a recent sale, was $145. Of course, this is Eric Larson with Venom there. And then I've got 2 copies of 234. This is the beginning of the new Return of the Sinister Six, and at a 9.8, 334 is actually going for about $175. And then the one cover that I think everybody likes more than anything out of this new Return of the Sinister Six is 337. And you've got all of them on the cover there, some Eric Larson goodness. And that right now is, recent sale was about $200. And then continuing a little bit more with Eric Larson and Venom, I pulled out 346. And at a 9.8, this recently sold for $225. And 347, this is your money book right here at a 9.8, that is recently sold for $450. And I've got Spider-Man 360, and this is technically, I guess, the second cameo of Carnage. And a 9.8, this went recently for $264. And then the last Spider-Man I pulled out of the collection for the moment is One Moment in Time. This is Spider-Man 641, and this is definitely, it was a cover, very popular cover. I didn't even realize I had this cover, to be honest with you, but recent sale on this at a 9.8 went for $350. Now, you're probably getting an idea of just how much value is actually in these books, and that's graded though. So this whole process is going to be about me working on the books, getting them cleaned and pressed, determining if they're really going to meet that value. If I want to set pre-screens at a 9.8 or a 9.6, you know, there's a whole process going to be involved here. Again, this video is really about just determining if these are going to go, but it's good to know that these values are out there. These aren't fake numbers, they are current numbers, and they'll fluctuate, they will go up and down, and this is probably the high on a lot of these. But even so, there's still going to be a lot of room for margin here, considering that your buy-in is just absolutely almost nothing. And again, I'll go over some of the numbers at the end. Alright, continuing, as I said, I'm going to do 25 books here. This is Alpha Flight number 33. This is the first appearance of Lady Deathstrike, and this is currently going $278 on that. And I'm most likely these are probably mostly eBay sales, but I pulled these prices from Cover Price. And here's a very popular one. I probably should have pulled this out months ago when the Loki show was going on. This is Fantastic Four 353, and currently that is a $280 9.8. This is the first appearance of Mr. Mobius. Of course, we had him appear on the Loki TV series. Now here's an interesting one. There's a book I never expected to be worth anything. Was Secret Wars 2, the 3rd issue. This is the first full appearance of the Beyonder. It's kind of curious. You go through almost 2 series and you never see him, but you finally see him here. I've got 3 copies of that there, and believe it or not, there's been a range of these sales that just in the last few weeks that have literally gone from $130 all the way up to $235. So that's kind of surprising to me. And not to leave DC out of the picture here, I did go back to the DC boxes and I pulled out a few of my favorites. We have here the new Teen Titans. This is issue number 23. This is the first appearance of Blackfire, but more importantly, we've got the first appearance of Adrian Chase, who's the Vigilante. And as everybody knows, the Vigilante is the appeared on the Peacekeeper TV series on HBO Max. So I actually haven't seen that yet. I'm looking forward to it, so I'll binge that at some point. but this was the first appearance of Adrian Chase, and current sale on this was $293. And then we've got New Teen Titans number 21. This is the first appearance. It's actually a lot of first appearances of, this is Brother Blood. And then we have Harbinger and Monitor, who were, of course you know that from the Crisis on Infinite Earths. And then the first appearance of Night Force, which I think it was a comic insert in the middle of this book. But this was recently sold. I think it went for $189. And then speaking of Vigilante, this is a really good find. I had 2 copies of this. This is the first copy of the first issue of his series, and this was recent sale. That was $408. And then last but not least is issue number 6 of Legends. This is the first appearance of the new Justice League. So of course you have all of them on the cover there. And recent sale on that went for $120. So what we've got here is a lot of books for a lot of money. You can see, you heard me rattle off numbers here like crazy. And I'll show you, I'm not going to do a close-up of this, but I will show you a little spreadsheet that I did. That I put this in, and I've worked out formulas where I can take into account what people are buying, what the potential sale for something like this, how much I charge for shipping, and then I go into my item cost, my CGC cost, my postage, and eventually I get around to having what is my potential profit on this. Well, let's just start off with how much this cost me to purchase all these books. And if you saw some of these books, you saw that there's a lot of 60-cent books in here, a lot of 75-cent books. I think there was only one book in here, and I think that was the SpiderMan, $249 at $3.99. That was that one, and a couple of these Spider-Mans. This one right here, $360, was $125. Everything else was $1 or less. Most of them were like 60 cents. So I averaged it out just for the simplicity's sake right now. So literally at $1 a piece, you're talking $25. So it's virtually nothing. And then you're looking at how much potential you could sell these books for. If I added up all of these right now, what did they all sell for? It roughly went to almost $5,800 is what this collection sold for, minus shipping. And as I said, I took into account what I charge for shipping versus how much that, I have to, a buyer would buy, if I sold these books, buyer would have to pay so much in shipping, and how much I would have to pay to send it to them and everything. And here's the final number. Right now I'm looking at a number of, if I sold every one of these once they're graded, God forbid we get 9/8 on everything, it's over $4,500 in profit on this. That's crazy. And you ask, why would I, at this point, I'm shooting for that. I'm shooting to get these graded as high as I possibly can. I could sell them raw, but even totaling up every one of these books raw, what am I selling all this for? It's a couple $100 if I'm lucky. So it's going to be worth the time, it's going to be worth the effort for me to go do all the cleaning and pressing, evaluate the books, take a look at them, determine if they're going to meet that 9/8, if they're going to meet that 9/6. Maybe I'll put in some pre-screens on these orders just in case. And there is definitely some more research that needs to be done before these books actually go out anywhere. But as you see, this is what I've been doing. This is what I do now, is I go back to the collection. I can go through, as I said, 40 years worth of books and pull stuff out. And as much fun as it's been going to comic book shows and speccing on a lot of books, that's actually pretty expensive. Again, return on investment, I'm putting a lot on those. I've been putting a lot of money out, so my return is a lot less. On something like this right here, there's a lot of potential, and that's kind of what I'm starting to do here. Is let's go back to the collection. I don't always have to go to the comic shows and comic book shops and eBay and whatnot and find books that way. I've got a lot of books. So there's all, I wouldn't say an endless supply, but as I said, I've got close to 100,000 books that I can go through and draw upon. So, but I guess the only other question I was thinking about bringing up was, why haven't I already pulled these books out? If these books are worth so much, why haven't I already pulled them out? Well, I have been pulling books out of the collection, and in a lot of the CGC orders that I've already sent out, there's been a lot that have gone out, but there were a lot of other bigger books, and as I said, it's a big collection. You can't pull everything out at the same time, and as the market dictates, you will see MCU will come out with some new show, and all of a sudden some character who wasn't even thought about is popular, and that book becomes hot, and I may miss that window initially of the top potential for that book, because it does take time to get these books graded. But what I found is, even if it comes back somewhat, the value still holds up pretty good, and especially at this buy-in rate of, as I said, cover price, there's plenty of room for profit, even if I'm not going to make as much as if I had all these things already pre-graded, I guess. So anyway, guys, that is about it. I want to thank everybody for watching the videos and everything, and I want to thank a lot of there's been a lot of people out there that I'd like to thank for inspiring me to do this kind of video. There's a lot of YouTubers out there who do similar things, but they also talk about a lot of these top 10 lists and what's hot and things that are coming up, and it's been very educational. You can go to Cover Price, you can go to Key Collector and Go Collect and other sources and see these lists and everything, but actually watching the other YouTubers in the community talk about these things has been very helpful, and I appreciate that. And as they continue to make more videos, things that I'll be able to watch, I will continue to be able to pull out other things from the collection, and we'll do more videos like this, books that I'm considering sending to CGC. So anyway, guys, that is it for today. If you like the video, please hit the subscribe button, and please hit the thumbs up on it. That helps the video. I appreciate the support, and I will see you for the next one. Take care.